What is up, my friends? Week 1 is in the books. This is the recap show, a real quick recap show. On this program, we're going to go over the winners and losers real quick, but we go over my DFS picks, my gambling picks, fantasy stuff. We're going to have a fun section. We're going to hear from Brick Headstrong. You're not going to want to miss that. Plus, we have some weekly awards we're going to give out to people and all that and so much more. Also, I want to give a shout out to the UFL podcast. I was on their show. If you want to check out their pregame show, it was great to hang out with the ref, Zach, and all the crew of Dirty and all his crew over at X Fan Show. That was a lot of fun. James Larson, got to talk to him. So you want to check that out. It was really interesting, fun interview to basically two guys that have been in the game for a very long time. Chit chat and stuff. So you want to check that out too. But thank you to those guys. Appreciate them having me on the program. And let's get into the recap.
USFL is in business.
The XFL is underway.
There's no doubt spring just got stronger.
All right, this is going to be bare bones, just not very fancy, but we'll just go over the recap. I've got some stuff here for you. If you go to UFLnewshub.com, you can check out the schedule. We actually have the schedule, but we also have the spread, the over, the under, and the attendance numbers, the network, and we're also going to add definitely once probably Mike Mitchell has the ratings numbers, we're going to have that too. So you can get that schedule on UFL News Hub. But of course, we've got Arlington losing to the Birmingham. Well, we'll get into all to that stuff. But we've got attendance numbers, 14,000, over 14,100 for the Arlington-Birmingham game, 9,400 for the Michigan Panthers, St. Louis. Seattle, San Antonio Brahmas, DC Defenders, 13,164. And then Houston and Memphis got 9,000 as well. Overall, I'm happy with the numbers, considering it was, Easter Sunday, all that stuff. God, he has risen. And I thought that the numbers, frankly, were good as far as attendance numbers goes. The games were good. It was a lot of fun to watch the games. Surprising stuff, and we'll get into our awards at the end of the show. But also want to let you know that we have all the stats. UFL Stats, League Leaders is all up on our site as well. You can go find that stuff on the website. So you got your stats, you got your schedule, all that stuff. All right, let's get into the gambling part of the program. First up, DraftKings did not do well at all for me. It was not good. Where is my team? This is the number one team out there. Garbers, Marvel, Kirkland, Latimer, Shepard, Aitman. I mean, he's got two guys, Kirkland and Aitman right there, 18 and 19, and Garbers with 21. I was all the way. One of my guys was, this was a big one. I was 400 and something. Can you just find mine? Go to my teams. Thank you. Here's my teams. I had Case Cookus. 200 yards and a touchdown. I thought he did okay. Darius Victor, I was surprised more. Really no rushing yards at all. 3. That's concerned me. I had Kirkland. He had 19 points. I had Davis from Memphis. He had 12. Hakeem Butler, 4 points. With that high-powered offense, St. Louis with just 16 points, though they made a run at the end, which was cool. Gray from Michigan, 1 point. He was a fill-in because one of my guys was out. And the DC Defenders, the heck is going on? Got me 3 points. Not very good when it comes to DFS this week. On to the odds and everything else, though. I did pretty dang good. You make some money off your pal Mark. So the Stallions, Renegades was the first game. All my picks were spot on. Birmingham to cover the spread. I picked the under, and I picked Birmingham to win. I picked all those bets, won a nice little money there. So I got that 100% correct. On to the next game, St. Louis Battlehawks, Michigan Panthers. The only pick I got right was the total over and under. That was correct. Of course, Michigan won. Both things. I thought St. Louis was going to win, but I picked the under. Oh, and by the way, I was correct. Every single game was the under. We'll talk about that. My DC Defenders, America's team, San Antonio Brahmas, same thing. The only thing I got right was the under. I picked DC for both the money line and point spread. I was wrong about that. Memphis Showboats. Remember, Houston was, we were favored by 1, which was not really. I knew Memphis was going to win. I had Memphis and then the under as well, and Memphis took that game. So those were 2 spot on. So basically Birmingham, Memphis, I nailed. I got all the unders right. It was just St. Louis and DC I got wrong. And then the parlay with St. Louis and DC losing, the parlay money line was St. Louis, DC, Memphis. And I got all that wrong. So that's what happened with that, unfortunately. But DC Defenders did not do good. On to the fantasy football stuff. We had some struggles with the fantasy getting the draft done. It was funny because for the listener league, the draft was all kinds of wonky and stuff. And it was, the thing is, like, when I test it on my local machine, it's fine. Everything's going fine. No issues. It's when it's on the server and there's a lot of other people happening and the server kind of like processes things a lot quicker than the draft. So I did the draft at 8:00 with the listener league. Then I went, saw what happened, went through the code, uploaded the code at like 8:55. We had the writers league and the draft went smooth, just like it does on my computer. So thank you everybody out there for being my beta testers. Again, I have a full-time job, 6 kids, wife has cancer. People are complaining, but whatever. They don't know. So that was my lineup. So I had, Darius Victor, Kiki Coty, John Trey Kirkland got good. I mean, I didn't even have a chance to take out Jamar Smith and some of these other players. So I'm going to clean up. The waiver wire is actually open now. And then we had an issue so we send out an alert once it's up and you can start doing your thing. And the site was crashing, not because there was something wrong with the code, which is I was looking at. It was the amount of people that were hitting the site at one time. There was a stored procedure that was kind of clogging things up. Cleaned it up, and now things seem to be loading well. So there's with our fantasy league. So Monmouth Generals is leading the way with Hit 'em with the Henny, both tied at 52. I'm all the way down at 38, but I will come from behind. Don't worry about that because I needed to change my lineup, and I didn't because I was working so much on other stuff. The DC, our listener, or whatchamacallit, our Writers League, did not get the win either. I lost that one. 28 points. Tamu didn't do well. Wes Hillis did good. Coty, Victor Bolden, Stephen Mitchell, Chase Sternberg, and Donald De La Haye. I don't think he had any points. He didn't get a kick at all there. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. Then we're going to hear from our main man, Brick Headstrong, and then we'll get into our awards to wrap up the show.
Hey, football fans! Just because the NFL season has wrapped doesn't mean the thrill of fantasy football has to end. Introducing NewsHubFantasy.com, your year-round fantasy football haven. Dive into the action with the United Football League and Canadian Football League. Whether it's the UFL's dynamic plays or the CFL's strategic battles, we've got you covered with fantasy leagues and weekly pick'em games that keep the competition fierce and the stakes high, all season long. Best of all, it's absolutely free. Join existing leagues to challenge the community, or create private leagues to compete with friends. With NewsHubFantasy.com, the game never stops. Strategy, camaraderie, and the chase for fantasy football glory continues beyond the NFL, bringing you closer to the sport you love every day. Don't sit on the sidelines. Visit NewsHubFantasy.com today, sign up for free, and keep your fantasy football season going. Because here, the game never ends. NewsHubFantasy.com, where football fantasy lives all year round.
Yeah. Great to be here, guys. Great to be here on UFLNewsHub.com. So before the game started, Brick Headstrong decided to pick the DC Defenders as his team for the UFL season. However, I have far more positive things to say about the Brahmas after this past week. The DC offense, they had a couple good drives, but they couldn't finish the job. That's where they got it. 3 touchdowns out of the Brahmas. Come on. Brick is sticking with the Defenders. One more week. Boys, one more week. And we'll see how it goes.
All right, there you have it, Brick. Headstrong. You can find Brick Headstrong on YouTube, on Instagram. Give him a follow. He'll be making a weekly appearance on the show, but that was his debut. Glad he's with the DC Defenders. I appreciate that. So Brick will be here every week. Just trying to make it something a little different, a little lighter. We'll have some fun with Brick during the season, so stay tuned for that. All right, I'm going to give out my awards. This is the weekly awards part of the program. We all know what the scores are. You've watched the games. There's only 4 games. We don't need to go through in-depth analysis. Let all the other folks do that. We're going to have a couple of awards. First up is the unexpected MVP. This is a player from the weekend who exceeds expectations in a surprising way, not just the star players, but those who made a pivotal play or had a standout moment. I'm giving the unexpected MVP to Brahmas QB Chase Garber. I did not expect anything. I think 3 touchdowns, a bunch of running. I did notice that a lot of the quarterbacks are fast and can run. I did notice that. Except for AJ McCarron. He's kind of more of the old school pocket passer. But a lot of these younger guys, I mean, they were running. And so Chase Garbers is my unexpected MVP. I was like, wait, who? Who are you? I mean, you had, AJ McCarron, and you've had all these other guys. I mean, as far as stats go, I mean, he is 7th in the league, 19 of 25, 158 yards, but 2 touchdowns. Only AJ McCarron also had 2 touchdowns. And then I think he had some, where was he on the ground game? See him on the ground game just yet. But he was 3 of 6 for also another rushing touchdown. So a guy that I was really surprised. I was like, oh, Chase Garbers is a guy. So congratulations on the unexpected MVP of the week. The underdog spotlight. So this is an underperforming team or player that showed grit and made a significant improvement, or like a feel-good kind of story. Panthers kicker Jake Bates. Are you kidding me? I was like watching this game with my wife, and I was like, dude is going to kick a 64-yarder, and he's never kicked since he was in high school. And I was like, I mean, he was indoors. I'll give, you know what I mean? Like, I'll give you that. And then I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. Sitting back, watching him kick it. I mean, plenty of leg. He could have hit it from a couple even yards back. It was fine. And I was like, straight down the money. And hey, I have no problem with Anthony Beck calling the timeout there. Especially, I would have called the timeout there too. I normally don't like that, but I was like, yes, call the timeout. Then to do it again, I was freaking out. I was laughing, freaking out. And I was like, this is awesome. There's so many stories. The story would have been the comeback of AJ McCarron, comeback, the Battlehawks, etc. That would have been the storyline. But Jake Bates nailing it. And also, I mean, if you look at the stats, I mean, EJ Perry, 12 of 24, 176 yards, but he got his team the win. Got him down at least close. So I thought Jake Bates, definitely Panthers kicker. Fantasy flops and fines. This is my take on fantasy football expectations versus reality. Talk about unexpected flops and also some fines. Flops for me, Hakeem Butler, Battlehawks. That was one thing. I was like, Hakeem Butler, thought he would be the guy. It was, of course, definitely the find was Marcel Aitman. Made me think of Pat Ruffino last year. He was talking up Aitman was going to be one of the best receivers in the league. He even posted it on Twitter later on. I remember that because I didn't know who Aitman was until I heard Pat talk about him. Definitely game baller. Aitman was definitely a find this year because he was kind of injured last year. I think even on one of the television shows, they kind of focused on that. Also, the Battlehawks offense putting up just 16. They missed their running back. You can think of how the offense would run with Max Borghi. Still, Gilman, I think, is a guy. I thought he was a guy. I mean, how did he do here? Let's see. I mean, see. I'm looking at the stats. Wayne Gallman, sorry. 13 of 40 yards. So, I mean, was it terrible? But it was like, where's the Battlehawks offense? I was really surprised, putting up 16. My other one, flop, the Brahmas tight ends. You have like 2 of the best tight ends in the league, and they did nothing. Why are you on their team? You're like a run and shoot. Why did you draft them? I mean, you guys won, and you guys look good. The Brahmas look good. I had a sneaky suspicion that they will be good. They would be good with AJ Smith calling the plays, and also Wade Phillips doing his thing. I was surprised, but I mean, I was like, I even know in the beginning, I was like, why did you guys get these tight ends? You got two of the best. Is it just to keep them away from anything? They didn't do anything. I would be staying away from those tight ends, actually, until we see something. Of course, then the big finds, John Trey Kirkland back in his form in San Antonio with the Brahmas. And then, of course, we just talked about Marcel Aitman being a guy. Great catches down the stretch. I mean, huge clutch things. It would have been the A.J. McCarron, Marcel Aitman story. And then Jake Bates just stole it from Kakaw Nation. He stole your life force. But this is what's cool about the league. It is anybody's game now. It is on because I don't know who's going to be good, who's going to be bad. It's a lot of good teams. Remember, they all upgraded their players, and it's going to be an interesting run here in the season. Finally, what the football? This is the most bizarre, unexpected moments from the weekend. Instead of what the F, it's what the football. DC Defenders offense. What? Where? Abram Smith. We miss Abram Smith. We miss the wide receivers that went into the league. The guy that retired. But I thought they got some. They already had some ballers. And then Jordan Tamu was our guy too. Just the offense just struggled all game long. I think they'll put it together. They have the defense. It'll be interesting to see what kind of waiver moves teams do during this week as we gear up for next week, next games for this week in week 2 action. So let us know what you think. Who's your unexpected MVP or your underdog spotlight, fantasy flops and finds, and of course, what the football? What is your bizarre, unexpected moment for the weekend? Let us know all of those in the comments. And we will still be back with our regular show on Thursday, working on some guests, working on some good stuff here. But we are week 1 in overall. Totally happy with it. Totally happy with the attendance numbers. I think they turned out well. And I hope you had a good time. The games were fun to watch. Some were a little slow. But hey, that just happens with the NFL. So we'll have a whole mess of fun stuff on our next episode. Thanks for watching. And as always, God bless. Make sure you like and subscribe. All right. We've still got some good content coming along the way. All right. That's it for me, folks. As always, God bless. And I will see you all later.